Hello friends, welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be setting up the month of September in my half-letter Discbound planner. We'll decorate a monthly spread and a currently page and a transitional fall theme, so come play with me. And I've got some brushes and some inks here ready to go, along with some stamps, stencils, and some stamping blocks. This brush tip marker, these die cut paper stickers, this Happy Planner sticker book, and this Planning sticker book, which I'll pull from. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started by just whiting out the empty days at the end and the start of the month. I have an idea of what I want to do for this spread, so I'm going to go ahead and forego the wax paper, seeing as I'm going to be using these die cut stickers for a majority of the decor, and I definitely can work with them without actually having to put down the wax paper since they're already pre-backed. So what I'm going to do is just kind of pull out a sampling of these stickers. I have both larger sizes and smaller sizes in each set, and I'll be kind of sorting them, kind of figuring out what I want to do and which ones I want to use and where. Since a majority of the space I use on this spread is really functional for me, I want to stick to smaller stickers here on this spread, but for the currently I can set aside a few larger ones that I think I can manipulate and work in on that page. I'm also going to do what I like to do, which is gradiate the color across the spread using these stickers. By the way, I did get these stickers from Journal Say in a haul, I want to say maybe in spring or late fall last year. So I will try to link everything that I'm using in the video description down below. But Journal Say does run out of product pretty quickly. So if you are seeing a lot of these Journal Say stickers that I've been using and not finding them through their links because they're already sold out, do be sure to follow my Journal Say haul videos. That's your best chance of getting these stickers in stock. These may be still in stock, I'm not really sure, but in case they're not, I wanted to bring that up so that you guys can follow along or repeat very specific styles of spreads that I'm doing if that is your desire. So right now I'm just kind of feeling out what I need and how I'm going to spread it out across the spread. I'm really trying to minimize how much of that space I'm using in those functional boxes. Only a little bit of overlap there in the middle, trying to use up those empty days at the front and the back of the month to really put a majority of the decor. I have a rough idea, like I said, of how it's going to go, so let's go ahead and start laying down the backing. And what I want to do is just kind of do a bit of a sweep using these chalk inks as a background. Chalk inks are really great because they don't bleed through the page, so I'm just going to use colors that are similar to the colors of the leaves that I think I want to use and match it up that way, but not too particular. As you'll see, this green is a little bit brighter and more yellow that I used in the background than these stickers are, but I think it just kind of reiterates that gradient effect that I'm trying to get going in this planner spread. I've also used a little bit of a stamp already, which I wasn't really sure how I was going to use the stamps, but decided just to use it for a bit of texture and not much else. Originally, I was thinking I was going to do more of a watercolor vibe, but I think it's just going to be too much, and I really like the clean, classic look of like a gradient of color across the spread for this fall transitional month. I'm using some pink, one that's called like a pink grapefruit, which is kind of like a pinky orange, and a yellow and a green for a majority of the color. And I think that's going to work really nicely. I'm going to go ahead and pepper in some of those texture dots here. The pink grapefruit color is very strong. I don't know if all the ink is just collected or something, but I have to really like lighten that up before I lay it down, or else it just takes over as far as the color is concerned. I'm just doing a quick sweep across the middle there. One thing I was thinking of doing too is adding in some like wind sweeping lines, something I've done in the past as well on a far distant fall spread that I remember doing. I thought that might be a helpful little addition to really show that wind swept look. But again, I'm a little worried because I am taking up functional space here. I don't want to put anything down that I really can't cover or work around somehow. So that's what I'm really concentrating on for the most part. And it's not going to be like a perfect circle. So I don't know. I just kind of worked it in and did the best I could with the shape of it, keeping it organic, but also trying to get across that windswept look. And these stickers, even though I really love the colors and the variations of them, are pretty hard to get off these backers. So something to keep in mind if you have trouble with dexterity in your fingers, maybe skip these stickers because they are very thinly backed, which I like about the stickers in general as far as that they're fairly thin overall and lay really flat on the page. But trying to get those backings off is a little bit of a challenge for sure. And since I'm going to be covering a lot of these days here in the middle with stickers and limiting that functionality there, I'll be bringing in some kind of box sticker or something to help me still use the area functionally. I was just trying a few of them out, but I'm not real sure yet what I want to do because I don't want to cover up too much. Working through some of the sticker placements and just, like I said, just trying to get it to look somewhat organic and natural. Thankfully, I had nails when I was doing this because it would have been extra hard without any kind of starter to get underneath those stickers to remove the backers. And I just can't believe it's September, you guys. I don't know how you guys are feeling about summer being over. I know some people get sad about summer being over, and some of us really can't wait for summer to be over and look forward to the fall weather. So I don't know which camp you're in. I live in Southern California, so I'm kind of over the hot weather, and it's been really humid here as well, which is unusual for where I live. So I'm just excited for some cooler nights and I don't know, just cooler days overall too. We don't really get a traditional fall, so it's nice to be able to have a fall vibe in my planner since we don't really get that quintessential fall change of season. And I just put in a few circle stickers and decided that that would work pretty well to allow me to still use each box, but not overtake the design, kind of more integrate that into the design, which I think looks good. Lastly, I do want to add in a quote. So I'm going to be pulling from this Happy Planner sticker book. This is one of my favorites from them. I actually have two of them in my stash, and it used to be called Seasonal Fall, but it just has lots of really pretty quotes that are very versatile for this time of year. There was a quote in there that I wanted to use here about change being beautiful, but it was a little bit too wide to fit in the sidebar as it was. So I cut it apart and repositioned it long ways down the spine, and I think that looks perfect for what I want to do. Went ahead and trimmed off the excess leaves and separated out the pages as well. But I do feel like this could use a little more color, a little more something, and I didn't want to get into my washi tapes, so I decided just to, I don't know what you would call this, like burnish or edge the paper with the same inks that I used as the backer. So I'm just going to go ahead and brush some of that in. Again, kind of sticking with that gradient idea. I'm not going to be too particular on placement, but I'm thinking, you know, more heavy green on the left, working towards the pink on the right, and just kind of blending as I go. Like I said, that pink grapefruit really just wants to take over. So luckily I didn't get too heavy here in the upper right, but definitely on the bottom it was getting serious. It was getting serious. And I really like that. I think that that's a nice delicate balance of color. And again, it's going to get filled up with text. So we'll leave it as is and work on the back page now, which is my currently page. I'm using inserts from my Etsy shop. This is just a regular monthly layout for the year, but I've combined it with a divider month as well, just so that I can have 4 pages standalone each month for this memory keeping spread. And I'm going to go ahead and start adding in the ink now, since I think I know where I want to place the leaves here on the back. Using those larger leaves here so that I can get some use out of those. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to use those since I have a smaller planner. So I am excited to be able to use some of the larger stickers here on the back. And you'll see I end up covering some of them fairly fully with boxes, but I think that it still works, so it looks good. I've also edged out the page with those same colors all at once, which was nice to get that done. And now just trying to figure out where I want to place these leaves exactly. Still doing a gradient, but this time I'm just going to kind of sweep it through the spread, through the middle here. Now I'm looking for the boxes or circles that I want to use on this page. So I think I want a couple of long boxes, particularly here for tracking the 3 main things I like to track on my currently, which is what I'm reading, what I'm watching, and then a lot of times it's what I'm eating, but I haven't been really eating a lot of diverse foods lately, so I started tracking what I'm enjoying. So it can cover food, drink, activities, anything that's going on. And that's been working out really nice. So those are like my 3 main categories that I'm going to focus in on as far as what boxes I'll need. Yeah, here you can see an example of one where I wasn't planning on covering that much, but it just kind of ended up happening that way. And then I've got this light pink one, which I wanted to color coordinate with the pink at the top here. Some of these stickers I want to have laying on top too, just to break things up so it's not so boxy. So I'm going to kind of work those in where I can. That's looking good. Definitely want this one to overlap. See if I can get it apart. Struggle was real. There we go. Have a little bit of overlap there. And then I'm going to bring in a couple of circles too. These I like to do, these smaller boxes or circles for highlights from the month. So just some call outs of some of my favorite things that happened during the month. Or maybe not my favorite things, but things that I want to remember that happened in that month. So I'm just going to drop those in. I think 3 should get her done. And I just rearrange the colors so it felt more gradiated. and looking for a quote that will work for this spread and just not seeing anything standalone. So I came across this box sticker, which I think will work. I just don't want all the extra stuff around it. So I'm just going to cut out the quote that says falling for fall and drop that in somewhere. Definitely want to clean it up though, since it's going to be white backed there and overlapping on things. Just going to blend it in a little bit. Trim this out. I'll go ahead and add in the categories too here in a second. First, I want to add in a little bit of the texture that I didn't use before I set in the stickers. I just wasn't sure how much I wanted to put in and where, so I'm doing this kind of after the fact and using my little scratch sheet there to help me cover anything that I don't want the texture to be on. And we're getting there. This really strong one I'm trying to fade out a little bit before I lay it down. And that's looking good. Let's go ahead and put in those labels. So we've got watching, reading, and enjoying. And I made a little mistake up here, so we'll correct that. And while that dries, I'll get this ready to be punched. And then I'll go back and make that correction and we will be done, friends. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye!